today's video, I'm going to be taking this room in my 1910 farmhouse that I was using for an office and turn it into the living room that it was meant to be. If you like farmhouse style and cozy rooms, then stick around. I ended up having to take a little break from YouTube, but while I was taking a break, I still was filming things that we were working on, one being this living room space. In August of 2024, I had closed my online business and I had used this space as my office. I did live selling in this room. So then we ended up turning it back into a living room, which is what it was intended to be used for. I'm gonna go through everything from ripping out shiplap to painting the walls and the ceiling, replacing light fixtures. I'm also gonna move in all of the basic pieces of furniture and kind of get it set up right before Christmas last year. This is gonna be part 1 of 2. I'm still working on part 2, the decorations that I use for daily living. And let's get started.
I did all my shipping and receiving and live selling in this space. I only did it because I was waiting to find another space to maybe move into, which never happened. So after about a year of doing that, I decided it was time to just close things up. So I did the hard work of sorting through absolutely everything. I'm still working through some of the stuff that I have left over, but I'm getting there. Now you can see the space, a little bit of what we're working with now that I've got most of it out. The space is about 12 by 20, not including the bay window, but it's a really quaint little space, very cozy. It just needs a good refresh. And then here are a bunch of orders that are still waiting to be picked up or shipped. I'm still trying to figure out what to do in this bay window and the other windows. These curtains we'd had in there a long time. They actually were in really great condition and good quality, so I went ahead and sold them for $50 on Facebook Marketplace, which was great. I kept the rods because of the bay window shape. Next up, we started tearing out the shiplap wall to the left and the right of the mantle. We had initially put this in a long time ago. It just fit the farmhouse feel, but it did end up feeling really off balance. So we kept it up on the mantle and removed both of the sides. Unfortunately, once we started undoing the left side, we realized there was a door frame we had covered up that used to go into our laundry room. This house has undergone a lot of remodels since my parents bought it in the 60s. And that one just got patched over. So we ended up having to go back and fix that. Here, I'm just removing the small pieces next to the entryway on the right side, just keeping the shiplap on the front of the mantle only. All right, so here it is after we have sheetrocked, or I should say after my dad sheetrocked and puttied in the surface over the doorway. Clearly it's looking a whole lot better. There were a lot of holes on the wall that needed to be filled. You can see here that it's plaster. So went ahead and just puttied that in with some filler. I don't show it, but I also sanded it later. There's a lot of texture on these old walls, so just made it as smooth as possible. Now it's time for some paint. I haven't quite decided on color at this point. We're just getting a primer on the walls. All right, hair's going up, so I mean business. Let's go ahead and get a good coat on the walls. Already it feels so much fresher and cleaner in this space.
So after playing around with some samples, we decided to go with green on the walls and white on the ceiling. You can see here that we were thinking about doing it the opposite and bringing the trim down on the wall based on this inspiration.
Then thought maybe that was too modern. So after a lot of contemplation, this was actually the biggest decision we made and kept going back and forth. We like to decorate with a lot of color, so thought maybe the white would be a better option for that. In the long run, we ended up opting for green, which is a good color that goes with all seasons, and so far we're really loving it. And yes, I'm totally freestyle trimming. In an old home, nothing is square or straight. It is much easier to freehand than tape things off. I've tried it before. It's totally frustrating, and after many years, I've gotten pretty good at it.
And now I'm going going to get started on the ceiling. So time to cover my hair and get started.
Now the ceiling did paint it white originally, but felt like it just needed something a little bit different. We decided to go the bold route and paint a darker shade of green on the ceiling, which again, not everybody's choice, but I feel like it turned out really well. So what's your thoughts on that? Are you more neutral? Do you like color? What would you have chose? And of course my little helper was everywhere. Bailey gets in the middle of everything. And you can see he's so innocent here, right? And yes, he did end up with paint on him multiple times. He's just so curious. All right, here I'm gonna go ahead and get a fresh coat of paint on the trim. Went with just a antique off-white. All right, here is the trim all done. You can see it's not perfect. It's over 100 years old, so it's as perfect as it's gonna be, and that is the charm of an old home. All right, so this wall was taking a little while because this is the one that had all the repairs and it took days in between to dry and sand and dry. So here's a little bit of that finished spot that we're still working on. Need to replace the shiplap down the side and some moldings on the floor. So again, there's just so many little tiny things that need to be done. While that's being worked on, I decided to start cleaning up because most of the dust was done in this space. This mantle my dad had put in years ago, it just needed a good scrubbing. Everything needed a quick wipe down and sweep, so I took a moment just to clean everything up. It's not all finished, but at least now I can start putting things in place in the areas that are finished and get some order back in the space. So this buffet I actually was not planning on keeping. I had it listed on Marketplace, but I also wanted to repaint it. So I put it in this corner. If you watch some of my Christmas videos, you'll see that I did repaint it this beautiful navy blue color, and it ended up selling later. Although, funny story, she was gonna paint it black. So, oh well, at least it sold. But for now, it's gonna go there. It'll be great for when I set up for Christmas. And then we found this piece of furniture at a Habitat. After looking up the brand, these couches actually sell for like $10,000 to $20,000, so they're extremely high end. We got it for, if I'm remembering right, like under $100, maybe like $75. But it has down cushions. It's actually very high quality, just needs a good cleaning, which I will do, but for now I'm just moving into the space. Very classic, very beautiful, and it was a perfect fit for the bay window. You can see some of the texture and detail here. All right, another large piece I'm moving in here. I just decided to put it in this corner. Great storage piece, almost like an armoire, but a little bit more narrow. So I kind of want to paint this at some point, maybe almost like a Swedish country type finish, but I haven't got to that yet. And then this one is one of my favorite pieces. I got a little tipsy there, a little out of control. Not something I probably should have been moving by myself. This piece is actually really gorgeous. It is curved front, original glass, beautiful shelves inside, and then a little bit of storage at the bottom. Has the original key. Next up is this light fixture. The old one wasn't bad, but really didn't like the glass on it. Even tried to maybe replace the globes on it. We just didn't like the little frilly ribbed globes that were on it originally. We ended up finding this. My dad had it in the garage, and it seemed to be a much better fit for the space. I did kind of show you the process of how I color matched the ceiling medallion. So I grabbed all of these paint colors. There's actually 5 different ones, and I just layered them. So here I'm just spraying a little of this, a little of that, and really just trying to get as close as I can to the original finish. I actually really love doing this color matching stuff. I don't know if I have an eye for it or what, but it is something that I really enjoy, the challenge of trying to color match things. And I think it turned out pretty well. And then of course Bailey was busy doing this. It's his favorite thing to find things in the garage. What a goof. Now here it is in the living room, and it was a really great addition. My dad liked using this pedestal table for his workbench, apparently, so I had to snap a picture of that. This is why we can't have nice things. And then these sconces, actually I think these came from the same place and they just were in my parents' garage. Went ahead and refreshed those and got them up on the wall. Almost broke one. I was able to save that. And then you can see here proof that we did finish the edge of the shiplap. And then I'll show you the sconces here. They're really beautiful. I put these little flickering lights in them. So pretty at night and for different seasons. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and replace this spool holder that my parents found. You can't even remember where that one came from, but they've had it for years. This had pictures on it that you may have seen earlier in the video when I was cleaning out the space, but not sure what I'm gonna do with it at this point. Just wanna get it back up on the wall so that it doesn't get broken. This was a little bit of a precarious job. Obviously, my dad and I are working together here trying to get it level and make sure it's hung properly so that it doesn't come falling back down. It was a little bit of a beast, but the history on it is that it used to hold spools for a factory. That's why all the little dowels are sticking out of it. It had like spools on it. So just a really cool piece, adds some architecture and history to the space. Not that it needed more, but it's a cool piece. And this is one of those that I don't like refinishing because I like the look of it. I did not get a full video of it before I set up for Christmas. Hopefully you can see past that, and I'm gonna go a lot simpler this year, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you have any questions about any of the products I used or any of the process or where to find anything, don't hesitate to ask. I'd be happy to help.
Well, I hope you got some inspiration from that, and if you're curious about all the decorating that I did last year for Christmas, you can actually go watch all of my Christmas videos. I got a little carried away. It was my first year on YouTube, but I go into depth on all of the stuff in this room as well as other rooms. You can check that out in my farmhouse decorating playlist, and be sure to follow along if you want to see how I transform this for everyday use. I also offer videos about biblical encouragement and some casual coffee chats. So if that's your style, I'd love for you to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.